Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are less than a week before Tisha B'Av, and what we will try to learn today is the concept that everyone heard, but I'm not sure that everyone really understands what exactly that means, that the Churban was because of Sinas Chinam. So I want to try to understand the concept, what's Sinas Chinam. Sinas Chinam basically is baseless or unjustified hate. And first we'll see the sources, then we'll analyze them and try to understand them as much as our time will let. Okay, so let's start from few sources in the Gemara, things that probably are known, but let's relearn them. The Gemara in Maseches Tainis says, the Mishnah, actually it's a Mishnah in Maseches Tainis, that in Tisha B'Av, 5 negative things happened during the history of the Jewish nation. So this date is not a good date. The first one was the report of the spies, the Meraglim, that came and said, basically the bottom line of their report was, don't go to Eretz Yisrael. It's a good place, but going there will be committing a national suicide because the nations over there are very, very strong, and even Hashem could not make us win them. The nation as a nation, Am Yisrael, accept this report. And the Pasuk says, in Parshas Shlach, in Sefer Bamidbar, ותישא כל העדה, ויתנו את קולם, ויבכו העם בלילה ההוא. The entire nation raised their voice and cried at that night, בלילה ההוא. Says Rabbi Yochanan in the Gemara, Maseches Tainis, Daf Kaftet, אמר Rabbi Yochanan, אותו היום תשעה באב היה. That's night when the Meraglim came and gave the report, and what the Torah says, ויבכו העם בלילה ההוא, at that night was Tisha B'Av. So that was the first things out of 5 that happened. And then later on, the first Beis HaMikdash was destroyed many years after, at the same night, and the second one at the same night. And there are another 2 things. But this night, but listen to what the Gemara says. Amar lהם HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem said to us, to the nation, to Bnei Israel, אתם בכיתם בכייה של חינם, ואני קובע לכם בכייה לדורות. And here's the word chinam. You cried a cry based on nothing, unjustified cry. Therefore, you're going to cry for real. And we have to understand this. What is bichia shel chinam? What is crying for nothing? I will say in brief because we have so much to cover. I'll say it in brief. The word bechi in Hebrew need explanation. What is bechi? Crying. Livkot, crying. Says the Gra, the Vilna Gaon, that it comes from the word confusion, mevucha. As Paro said to Bnei Israel when they went and came back after Yetzias Mitzrayim, ואמר פרעה לבני ישראל נבוכים הם בארץ. And Paro will said about, he will not understand the maneuver, and he will translate it like they are confused. So says the Gra that crying, coming, or bechi come from confusion. Bechi mevucha, nevuchim. Why a person cry? 2 reasons. It could be from an amazing joy, something that good that happens surprisingly and make you, wow, overwhelmed, and then the reaction will be crying, this cry of joy. Same way, chas v'shalom on the other side, the other way, if something tragic happened all of a sudden without anyone be ready for it, the shock is overwhelming and the reaction is cry. What's the deep understanding of this? You're crying because you are in confusion. You do not know how to continue from here. So this is the reason of cry. When the Meraglim came and report what they report, and it seems like if you go there, you're just gonna commit a national suicide. The nation accepted and cried from sorrow. But this cry was for nothing. Chinam. Why? Because, as Yoshua and Caleb told them, Ach ba'Hashem al timrodu. You could not be rebel against Hashem. He told you that he's going to take you there. He is almighty. He has the power. And even if they were strong, we will win because Hashem with us. So that's why this crying of the nation was a bichya shel chinam, a crying for nothing, because there is no reason to back it up. The tikkun, the fixing of it will be, you're going to cry for real during the history until the cry of the history, every Tisha B'Av, during the history, all the tears, the real tears, will be equivalent to the fake tears that you have at that time, and that will be the fixing of it. And this is Tisha B'Av basically. So this is one source. Gemara Tainis, and over there it's not speaking about, doesn't speak about sinas chinom, but bichias chinom, crying of chinom. Okay, let's go to another source, the source for the concept of sinas chinom. Oh, you know what? One thing before. In this week Parsha, Parshas Devarim, which always read before Tisha B'Av, in this week Parsha, in the beginning of Parsha, the first chapter, Moshe Rabbeinu gave a review of what happened during the 40 years in the desert, and he relate to the event, the tragic event of the Meraglim, and that's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. It's in our Parsha, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Kaf Zayin. What was the reaction of the nation when they heard the report of the Meraglim? V'teragnu be'olechem v'tomru b'sinat Hashem otanu. You are gathering your tents, and that's what you said. What did they say? B'sinat Hashem otanu, because Hashem hate us. Hotzianu me'eretz Mitzrayim latet otanu biyad ha'emori la'ashmidenu. You know why Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim? This is an unbelievable thing that they said. No one could understand or believe that the Jewish people at the time said that. You know what they said? Let me translate it to you. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. He made the 10 miracles of the 10 plagues, 10 makos. He made us going in dry land when he split the sea. He drowned the Egyptians inside. You know why? Because he hates us. Because he wants us to come, to bring us to the land of Canaan, in order for the Canaanites to eliminate us, to kill us. That's why he took us out of Mitzrayim. Could you believe? Look at the pasuk. That's what the pasuk says. When the Meraglim came and gave their negative report, that was the reaction of the nation. V'teragnu be'olechem v'tomru b'sinat Hashem otanu, because Hashem hated us. Therefore, he took us out of Mitzrayim. Says Rashi. ותרגנו לשון הרע וכן דברי נרגן, אדם ומוציא ריבה. Okay, I will not translate to this. Now, look at this. בשנאת השם אותנו, says Rashi, in the name of the Medrash, of course, והוא היה אוהב אתכם. Actually, he loved you. אבל אתם שונאים אותו. what make you think or make you say that he hated you? Actually, it was a projection of what was in your heart. You were hating him, and therefore you projected on him and said that he is hating you. And here's the source of Sinas Chinam. You hated Hashem for nothing. Of course, you should love Hashem. But you hated him. And Rashi brings it in the name of the Medrash. And this is the source of Sinas Chinam, connected to the Bichi of Chinam. Okay? Of the crying of Chinam. Okay, try to remember this. Let's go to the source, that the famous source about Sinas Chinam in the Talmud. It's the Gemara in Maseches Yuma. So the Gemara in Maseches Yuma says, in Daf Tet, says the following. Mikdash Rishon mipnei macharav. As I mentioned, both Mikdashim, both Batei HaMikdash, Bayit Rishon and Bayit Sheni, was destroyed in the same day, in Tisha B'Av, in 490 years apart. Same night. So the Gemara relates to this, and the Gemara says the following. What was the reason for the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash? Mipnei shlosha dvarim shehayu bo. Because of three things that was there, meaning the Jewish nation in Eretz Yisrael did these three big sins. What are they? Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Ushfichut Damim. Avodah Zarah, worshipping idols. Gilui Arayot, immorality and sexual relations, and murder. Those are the most severe sins in the entire Torah, in the entire Taryag Mitzvahs. Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Ushfichut Damim. And because of this, they do not deserve to stay in Eretz Yisrael with the Kedusha of Beis HaMikdash and Shechina. Therefore, the first Beis HaMikdash destroyed. Continue the Gemara. Aval Mikdash Sheni, שהיו עוסקים בתורה ובמצוות וגמילות חסדים מפני מחריו. By Sheni, the second Beis HaMikdash, people were learning Torah. People will do mitzvahs. They keep the mitzvahs of the Torah. And they do even Gmilus Chasadim. And this is all the three things that the world established on. Ala Torah, ve'ala Avodah, ve'al Gmilut Chasadim. So why the second Beis HaMikdash Charav? Says the Gemara, Mipnei shehayta bo sinat chinam. Because at the time when Beis HaMikdash was there, the Jews around Beis HaMikdash, meaning in Eretz Yisrael, was the phenomena of unjustified hate was very popular. And therefore, the second Beis HaMikdash destroyed. Continue the Gemara, ללמדך ששקולה שנאת חינם כנגד שלוש עבירות. So we learn from this that sinas chinam, unjustified hate, is the weight of it is like those three, Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Ushfichut Damim. You know, okay, this Gemara is very famous, but when you analyze it, try to understand it, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, sinas chinam is not a big, good thing to do. But, where it's written in the Torah that if you not keeping the mitzvahs ואהבת לרעך כמוך, or לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך, it's not a death penalty even on individual who do this. For sure you cannot compare it to Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayos, Shfichus Damim, that the Torah says clearly this is the most severe that Yehoreg ve'al Yavor. So Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Shfichut Damim is Yehoreg ve'al Yavor. Sinas chinam? It's not Yehoreg ve'al Yavor. So how could it be that the reason why the second Beit HaMikdash destroyed was because of sinas chinam? And it's way, if you put this on a scale, that will weigh the same way of all three combined. This is the thing that we should try to understand. It's a big, big question. It's not... Okay. So let's see what we could understand in it. So let me add to you another information that came in the same Gemara later on. I will not go to details over there, but let's see the next things, the next lines in the same Gemara. Ask the Gemara, now another question, aside from the question that I asked, the Gemara asked, you said that Sinas Chinam was in Bais Sheni. Ask the Gemara, ובמקדש ראשון לא היה בשנאת חינם? In Beis HaMikdash, at the time of the first Beis HaMikdash, was no sinas chinam. And the Gemara bring a pasuk in Yechezkel. And the pasuk in Yechezkel said clearly that it was a sinat chinam in Beis Rishon. So the Gemara learned it from a pasuk. I just will read it, will not go into explanation because we really do not have time. I'll just tell you. The Gemara says, V'aktiv, there is a pasuk in Yechezkel. Let me show you the pasuk in Yechezkel. The pasuk in Yechezkel is in Perek Kaf Aleph, pasuk Yud Zayin, and Hashem says to Yechezkel Hanavi, "Za'ak v'heilil ben Adam." You should scream and cry, "Ki hi hayta be'ami," that this thing was in my nation. He bechol nesiyei Israel. This thing, and we'll see soon what is this thing. He, this. Bechol Nesiyei Israel, on all the leaders of Israel, Megurai el cherev hayu et ami, lachen sfok al yarech. Megurai el cherev, so the Gemara said, Megurai, meaning that people gather together, Megurai, live together. El cherev hayu et ami. El cherev is a war, is a sword. Hayu et ami. So this is a contradiction. Megurai, meaning that they were together. And there are a sword. Lachen sfok al yarech. Therefore, you have to cry and make a kina on this. This is the pasuk. Says the Gemara. Let's go back to the pasuk. The pasuk says, the Gemara, ובמקדש ראשון לא אהבה בשנאת חינם, והכתיב מגורי אל חרב היו את עמי לכן ספוק על ירך. Explain the Gemara, ואמר רבי אלעזר, אלו בני אדם שאוכלים ושותים זה עם זה. People who are together and it seems like they have a nice party together. But, ודוקרים זה את זה בחרבות שבלשונם. They were stabbing each other with swords that were in their mouth. So you see over here that they seems to be together, but they hate each other and they cynically was hurting each other. So this pasuk was in Yechezkel. Yechezkel relate to what happened before the destruction of Bais Rishon. As the Gemara, if so, how could you say that in Bais Rishon was Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Shfuchas Damim, and apparently not Sinas Chinam? It was Sinas Chinam there. Answer the Gemara, Hahi benesiei Yisrael avai. Yeah, it was, but it was only by the leaders, not by the regular people, the regular nation. And the Gemara brings the raya from the pasuk, Z'ak ve'elel ben adam ki hayta be'ami. So be'ami it's in the nation, but it mentioned in the pasuk, Z'ak ve'elel ben adam yechol hakol, Talmud lomar hi bechol nesiei Yisrael. It was in the leaders only. So according to this Gemara, Sinas Chinam was in Bais Rishon, but it was in the elite, in the leaders, not among the nation. In Bais Sheni, it went down and everyone has this Sinas Chinam. Okay. Now, let's just go and try to explain the Isur Torah of Sinah. So it's in Parshas Kedoshim, in Sefer Vayikra Perek Yutet, as you see it over here, לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך. הוכח תוכיח את עמיתך ולא תישא עליו חטא. So Hashem told us, Kedoshim תהיו. Therefore, you're not allowed to hate your fellow Jew. Be aware of the word אחיך. לא תשנא את אחיך. Your brother, your fellow Jew. בלבביך. בלבביך, in your heart. And here we have to define what is sinah. he is not talking about sinas chilim. He's talking about sinna in general. לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך. We're talking about a hatred that the person has in his heart. In his heart meaning that he is not saying anything in his word, in his mouth, but he kept the hate in the heart. Says the Shloh, and here we have to understand. Says the Shloh HaKodesh says that in שאר האותיות, let's see what he says. שלא לשנוא שום אדם מישראל, כמו שנאמר, לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך. You are not allowed to hate anyone, any Jew. בלבביך. Says the Shloh, והשנאה שבלב, רובה באה מחמת הקנאה. When someone hate in their heart, mostly, usually, it's coming from jealousy. Jealousy. וגדולה השנאה הבאה מחמת הקנאה, יותר הבאה מחמת עלבון ותחרות או דבר אחר. And this sinah that comes from jealousy is worse than any sinah that came from someone said something not nice about the other person, or he tried to compete with them. When it comes from kina, this is the worst. And explain the Shloh, כי זו, בסור הסיבה, סור כל חלאתה ויש לה תקומה. Other reasons for sinah, aside from kina, could be fixed. When you settle down, it will go. It will go the sinah. אמנם הבאה מחמת הקנאה, אין לה שום תקנה. But if a person is jealous in their heart, there is no way to erase it, to take it away, unless he will take the kina out. But if the kina is still there, there is no way that he will not hate. He, continue the Shloh, היא אשר החריבה מקדש שני, שלא היו בו לא עבודה זרה וגילוי עריות ושפיכות דמים כמו במקדש ראשון. And this is so terrible, this kind of sinah, hate, that come from jealousy, that this is the reason of the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. והיא אשר הגלתה את פליטת יהודה ומקיימי שאר ישראל בגלות, and still now, during the exile, it's still here, ואשר היא סיבבה כל הגירושים והרעות והצרות שהיו מעולם בגלות, החל הזה, all the tzores, all the problems, all the terrible things that we went through in this exile comes from this sinah, hate, that based on kina, jealousy. Says the Shloh, והשנאה הזאת אשר בלב נקראת שנאת חינם. This hate that in the heart called sinat chinam. And here we have to explain why this hate that comes from jealousy is sinat chinam, is a hate, unjustified hate. כי על עסקי חינם וקנאה לבד נכנסת בליבו של אדם, והיא קשה שבכולם. And this is the most strong and terrible hate, because it's based on jealousy. And the jealousy is unjustified. So in order to understand what sinas chinam, why it's unjustified, I'll say two things. First of all, when you say unjustified hate, it means that there are a justified hate. Really? Justified hate? Apparently, many people think that hate is negative anyways. There is no way to justify hate. It's not true. I'll show it to you later. There is a justified hate. Unjustified hate that came from jealousy is the worst. So let's start from this. Why it's called, when it's based on jealousy, how come it's unjustified? So there is a Mishnah, famous Mishnah, in Maseches Avos, הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. מוציאים את the kina, the jealousy, is one of the three things that take a person out of its world, his world. The world is the place where we are. If someone is in the world, but he's suffering, and he has everything that they need. They have everything that they need, but they suffer from jealousy. Jealousy is fake, is a fake need. What is a jealousy? I have everything, but I see other person that has more than me. So I said, I want what this person have. Why? And I convinced myself that I really need it. And that caused the jealousy, right? It's a fake need. Why it's a fake need? Because you have everything what you need. If that person were not be here around and you will see what they have, you will not feel that you're missing anything. So the feeling that you have that you're missing is just because that this person appears in your life or appears somewhere and you see it, and then you say, wait, he has something that I don't have. So I need to have what he has. So it's fake, meaning if he was not here and you're not aware what he has, you will be the happiest person ever. But because you see that they have more than you have, you feel that you're really missing. This is a fake need. And this jealousy will lead to hate, and hate that based on this jealousy is a sinas chinam. Chinam means unjustified. In Lashon HaKodesh, the main letters in the word chinam, which is 3 letters, right? Letters, chet, nun, and mem. The main letters are the first 2, chet and nun. Chet and nun in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, is chen. Chen. V'noach matzah chen b'nei Hashem. What is chen? Chen is when a person has certain charming, he's a charming person. Let's go deeper. There is a word in Lashon HaKodesh called chanina. What is chanina? Let's say someone commit a crime and they put him in jail. Chanina is when the king or the president will give him a pardon, will give him, okay, you have to serve, let's say, in jail for 15 years. You served already 4.5, I'm going to let you go. So according to the judgment, he has to serve the entire thing. The chanina is to give him not according to the judgment, not according to midas adin, but giving him something bechinam. Bechinam meaning unjustified. This is the meaning of the word chanina. And this is the meaning of the word chinam. Chen, when someone, we have a kindergarten, you have a few kids over there, one of them behaving not properly, but this particular kid is charming. So when he's charming or she's charming, you forgive her or forgive him more than the others. And you give him something that it's not justified. That's the common denominator between chanina, chen, chinam, something that has no real justified base. Okay? Of course, when we're talking about sinat chinam, hate without any justification, this is a problem. How come it's so strong and so powerful to destroy the nation, to destroy Beis Hamikdash, to send the Jews for Galus for long, long time until today, almost 2,000 years since the destruction of Bayis Sheni. What is the deep thing about Sinas Chinam? Okay, I have so many sources, I don't know how to cover them, but let's start from the Maharal. The Maharal relate to this issue, and he relate to this particular Gemara in Maseches Yuma about Bayit Sheni Mipnei Macharav, why the second temple destroyed, because of Sinas Chinam. And let me share with you what the Maharal said. You could see it over here. I'll translate the main point. I will not go every sentence over here, but I'll give you the major point that he said. The Maharal says the following. He started first from the simple understanding of it. So he says the following. והפירוש אשר הוא לפי פשוטו, כי מקדש ראשון היה השכינה ביניהם. וזהו מעלת בית המקדש הראשון שהיה מיוחד במעלה שהייתה השכינה שורה בו. We have to know that we have two בתי מקדש, בייס ראשון and בייס שני. Was a huge difference between them from the point of view of the level of the Kedusha. In Bayis Rishon was Shechina. Shlomo HaMelech built it and was Shechina. The Shechina meaning the dwelling of Hashem was in Beis HaMikdash, Bayis Rishon. When Beis HaMikdash Rishon was destroyed, the Shechina went away. When they rebuilt Beis HaMikdash, they built Bayis Sheni, Shechina did not return to Bayis Sheni for the entire time that the Bayis Sheni was there. Was no Shechina. Meaning it was Beis HaMikdash, it was Avodas Beis HaMikdash and everything, but it was no Shechina. This is a very fundamental thing to understand what is the meaning of this. But the Gemara says that 5 things were missing in Bayis Sheni that wasn't Bayis Rishon, was missing in Bayis Sheni. One of them, Lo Sharta Shechina. So Bayis Rishon, the destruction of Bayis Rishon was in a way more severe because the destruction was Siluk HaShechina. The Shechina went away. Explain the Maharal. Because the Maila of Beis HaMikdash Rishon was the Shechina, הייתה שורה בו, was the Shechina there. לפיכך, חורבן שלו, כאשר לא היה ראוי שתשרה השכינה ביניהם, והיינו כשטימאו את בית המקדש. Because they did avodah zarah, גילוי עריות and שפיכות דמים, on purpose, במזיד, all those 3 חטאים, the Torah says about them, and the Maharal bring it, that they are metame. Tuma is just the opposite of Kedusha. Therefore, when they have those 3 sins, Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayos, and Shfichos Domim, they are metame, the Kedusha of the Mikdash, and therefore the Mikdash destroyed. Okay? But, when it comes to Bayis Sheni, in Bayis Sheni was no Shechina. So what was the Maila of Bayis Sheni? Listen carefully to what he said. אבל מקדש שני, שלא הייתה שכינה שורה בו כמו במקדש ראשון, ולכך לא נחרב בשביל אלו 3 העבירות. אבל מעלת מקדש שני היה מחמת ישראל עצמם. And this is very deep concept. In Beis HaMikdash, in the second Beis HaMikdash was no Shechina, but still was Beis HaMikdash, and was the entire Avodah and everything. What makes Beis HaMikdash, what was the level of Kedusha of Beis HaMikdash? The fact that the entire nation was around it, says the Maharal. That's what he said in those words. אבל מעלת מקדש שני היה מחמת ישראל עצמם. And he explaining. וזה דבר ברור, כי ישראל הם מתאחדים על ידי בית המקדש שהיה להם. The nation was together around בית המקדש. They have one כהן אחד, מזבח אחד, ונאסרו הבמות, they were not doing קורבנות outside of בית המקדש, שלא היה פירוד וחילוק בישראל. They were not separated. By the way, in Bais Rishon was a separation between the 10 tribes to the 2 tribes. Was Yehuda and Israel, they were not connected the same way they were connected in Bais Sheni. During the 420 years of the Bais Sheni, the Jewish nation was together and was one Beis Mikdash, one Kohen, one Mizbeach, and Beis Hamikdash actually was the thing that made the Klal Yisrael Klal Yisrael. Klal meaning together. והדבר הזה מבואר ועוד יתברר בפרק שלאחר זה. לקח, בית המקדש על ידו הם אומה אחת שלמה. So what's the main point, says the Maharal, about the second Beis HaMikdash? That Beis HaMikdash was me'ached, was putting together, gathering together Klal Yisrael. They are together. ומפני כך נחרב הבית בשביל שנאת חינם. Because what is a sinah? Sinah makes separation. ומפני כך נחרב הבית בגלל שנאת חינם שנחלק לבבם והיו מחולקים ולא היו ראויים למקדש כי הוא התאחדות ישראל. הוא פירוש פשוט הוא. So he said, Sinas Chinam was just the anti-unification that Beis HaMikdash did. So when this sinah was growing and growing and growing, and it's separating between people, because when people hate each other, they do not want to be in the company of the others, it separated them, and therefore the fact that they have sinat chinam itself destroyed Beis HaMikdash, because Beis HaMikdash, the idea of Beis HaMikdash and Beis Sheni, because was no Shechina, the mile of Beis HaMikdash was a unification of Klal Yisrael. Okay, but this is the simple understanding. Continue the Maharal and says the following. במקדש שני, החטא היה לבטל מהם מה שהם עם ישראל. The Sinas Chinam was mevatel the concept of the nation of Israel, the Klal Yisrael. When they are together, כאשר יש להם חיבור ביחד, הם עם אחד, אבל כאשר יש ביניהם שנאה, אינם עם אחד. Wow, and this is the destruction. The destruction is not the destruction of Beis HaMikdash. It's the destruction of the concept of Klal Yisrael. There is no more Klal Yisrael. They're not together. And the Maharal continue. חרב בית שני על ידי שנאת חינם, כי הנפש הפך לו שנאת חינם. He explained, I didn't bring the entire thing, it's long. He said that it's like the nefesh. The nefesh is the spiritual dimension in the human person. So it's the nefesh, the neshama. The neshama has, or the nefesh, as including all different powers that the person has. All of them are included in the nefesh. That's the concept of called kochot nefesh. Kochot nefesh. Different kochot, variety of kochot, of powers, but all or characters or traits, but all of them are including in the nefesh. הנפש הפך לו שנאת חינם, כי הנפש היא אחת, והיא מקשרת וכוללת את הכוחות כולם, וכוח הנפש כולל אותם, וזהו עצם הנפש, שהוא כולל כל חלקי הנפש אשר הם מחולקים. ולפיכך שנאת חינם אשר הוא החילוק והפירוד, הוא הפך הנפש, אשר הוא אחד והוא כולל הכל. So Sinas Chinam take all those many powers that in the nefesh and separate them. And when it separates them, it's going against the nefesh itself, against the neshama itself. Now, Beis HaMikdash was the place where all the nation was around it and was connected in this. So when they did Sinas Chinam, they destroyed the things that connected them, which is Beis HaMikdash. Okay, it seems like it's just more in different words, the same thing that he said before. ולפיכך אמרו, ששקולה שנאת חינם כנגד 3 חטאים. And therefore, it's so big and serious, like all 3 חטאים of עבודה זרה, גילוי עריות ושפיכות דמים. And he goes and he explains this. If you want, just read it yourself there. I want to go to the next thing that he said. And look at this. He continued and he said the following. אף כי בזה יש עוד סוד נסתר ונעלם. And here the Maharal becomes mysterious. He said, aside from all what I explained to you about why Bais Sheni was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam, there is another thing, but it's a secret, and it's hidden. למה? Why? בייס המקדש הראשון חרב על אלו 3 עבירות. עבודה זרה, גילוי עריות ושפיכות דמים, ומקדש שני על ידי שנאת חינם. So there is a secret, hidden thing. And because it's a secret, I could not tell it to you, because it's a secret, says the Maharal. But, אפרש אותו ברמז ותבין אותו. I'll just give you a hint, and if you will try to understand it, you could, from the hint that I will give you. What is the hint? וזה. כי מקדש ראשון היה להם בזכות 3 האבות הקדושים, אשר מדרגתם בוודאי יותר עליונה מישראל. The merit that because of it we have the first Beis HaMikdash was Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And because they were holy, we got Beis HaMikdash for their merit. Now if you take them together, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, their level, their madrega, is higher than the entire nation, because they are the base of the entire nation. So they're together, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, are creating a very high level, more than the nation that came out of them, because they are the foundation, they are the base. So Bais Rishon, we got Bais Rishon because of the 3 avos. ובית שני שלא היה כל כך במעלה, היה כנגד כנסת ישראל עצמם. Bais Sheni was in less higher level, and it was because of the nation themselves. Keneged Knesset Israel. Now be aware of this. If you heard the word, this notion before, Knesset Israel. What's Knesset? Knesset is kinus. Kinus is togetherness. So there is a concept, very deep concept, called Knesset Israel. Knesset Israel, that they are, from this come the word Beit Knesset. Shul, Beit Knesset, a place where Jews come together there, together. And that was the Bais Sheni. בית המקדש השני שלא היה כל כך במעלה, like the first one that was because of the merit of the 3 of us, היה נגד כנסת ישראל עצמם. It's because the nation themselves, כנסת ישראל. וכבר אמרו חכמינו זיכרונם לברכה, כי בסוף כאשר חרב בית ראשון, תמה זכות אבות. You bring here a Gemara in Maseches Shabbos, that the Churban Bais Rishon was a result of expired the merit of the avos. Tama, finish, zchut avot. So the Churban Bais Rishon was that the zchus, the merit that we have because of our Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, our forefathers, done, finish, completed. So Bais Sheni was no zchus avos. So what was Bais Sheni? Because of the nation themselves, the concept called Knesset Israel, which is the result of the avos, but meaning the main reason is not there, but the result of it is still there. Says the Maharal, ולכך, היה מקדש שני כנגד ישראל בעצמם. ולפיכך, שנאת חינם מבטלת כוח כנסת ישראל. Again, what is sinah? The result of a sinah is separation. Separation is just the anti-knesset. Knesset is kinus, is togetherness. The separation destroys this. על שם חיבור ואחדות ישראל. וזה אומרם, and this is the reason that Chazal says, כי מקדש שני חרב על ידי שנאת חינם בלבד. That was the only reason, בלבד, that was the major reason that because of it, Bais Sheni destroyed. So remember what the Maharal said. There is a deep secret over here. It's hidden. I'm not allowed to say to you. I'm just gonna give you a hint. And that the hint that he gave, and he said, after I told you what I told you, you could think still that, what? I mean, I don't see any deep concept over here. So the Maharal warned us in the last few words. Look, ve'elu dvarim nir'im kalim. When you look at them from outside, what I just said to you seems like, what's so deep about it? It's not something that really explains things. So warn us the Maharal, even though those things that I told you look light, אבל הם דברים עמוקים וגדולים. They are very deep and very great, very big. רמזנו לך פה. I just give you a hint. So if you will go deeper into it, you will understand what the secret is. ואם כי הכל שורש אחד להם ובחיבור דרך חיים נתבהר יותר. So he said, I'll explain this in different place. And he explained in his Perush to Maseches Avos, which called Derech HaChaim, he explained more the concept of the merit of the Avos versus the merit of Klal Yisrael, and that was this. I want to cover another thing, another big thing. Okay, let's see it. It's a quote from the Zohar. Zohar Chadash, just few words from the Zohar. Zohar Chadash Daf Kaftet says the Zohar the following. V'kat garam chova de sinat chinam. The Zohar relate to the Churban Bais Sheni, and he says, V'kat garam, and when the sinat chinam caused the Churban, Itari sinat chinam de kadmeita. The sinat chinam that was in Bais Sheni waked up an old sinat chinam that was before. And look what he relate to. Hadau dichtiv vayisneu oto le'auzaka. And he relate here to the hate that the brothers, the Shvatim, has toward Yosef in Parshas Vayeshev. Let me remind you the story. Let's go there. Parshas Vayeshev, Sefer Bereshis. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Knan, after he came back from Haran. And then אלה תולדות יעקב יוסף בן 17 שנה היה רואה את אחיו בצאן והוא נער את בני בלהה ואת בני זלפה נשי אביו ויבא יוסף את דיבתם רעה אל אביהם. וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו כי בן זקונים הוא לו ועשה לו כתונת פסים ויראו אחיו כי אותו אהב אביהם מכל אחיו וישנאו אותו ולא יכלו דברו לשלום. So the Zohar connected Sinas Chinam that caused the Churban of Bais Sheni to the old sinah that was in the Jewish nation in the beginning when the Shvatim hated Yosef. Right? Why they hated Yosef? And the Zohar says it's a sinas chinam. What the Shvatim did to Yosef was sinas chinam. And apparently why it's sinas chinam? His father Yaakov shows that he loves him more than the others. That caused the jealousy. The jealousy led to sinah. But the Zohar said that this sinah was sinas chinam because Yosef was a tzaddik. He was clean. He was innocent. It was unjustified sinah. But over there it says, וישנאו אותו, ולא יכלו דברו לשלום. And then he dreamed the dreams, and the Torah says, he dreamed a dream, and he told them, ויוסיפו עוד שנוא אותו. And they added to the sinner more. And then he told them the second dream. ויוסיפו עוד שנוא אותו על חלומותיו ועל דבריו. They hated even more and more. Now what this hatred caused, listen to this carefully. The hate of the brothers of the Shvatim of Yosef caused the first Galus, which is Galus Mitzrayim. When they sold them to Mitzrayim, they started Galus Mitzrayim. So the Zohar says that the Sinas Chinam that was there by the Shvatim caused the first Galus, and Sinas Chinam that was in Bayis Sheni awake this old sinner that the brothers hated Yosef. Let's go back to the Zohar. וכד גרם חובה דשנאת חינם, איתה הרי שנאת חינם דקדמייתא. It awake the sinas chinam that was in the beginning, גדאו דכתיב, that what mentioned in the Torah, וישנאו אותו, when the brother hated Yosef, להאו זכה, to this, they hate this tzaddik, Yosef. וכדן, and then in Bayis Sheni, in Bayis Rishon it caused going to Golus Mitzrayim. In Bayis Sheni, what led the sinner that was in Bayis Sheni, says the Zohar, וכדן, and then, יאיב לאון קודשא בריחו ביד מן דסני לאון סינס חינום. It was a sinas chinam, so Hashem put them in the hands of those who hate them for nothing. Who are they? The Romans, which in Chazal called Golus Edom. And who is Edom? Edom is Esau. הלעיתני נא מן האדום, האדום הזה על כן קרא שמו אדום. And by Esau it says, ויסתום יעקב את עשיו, ויסתום עשיו את יעקב על הברכה אשר ברך אביו, ויאמר עשיו בליבו, יקרבו ימי אבל אביו והרגה את יעקב אחי. Esau hated Yaakov and he wants to kill him. Now, the sinas chinam in Bayis Sheni led to that Hashem sent them or put them in the hands of those who hated them, which is the descendants of Esau. Hadau dichtiv be'edom, that what's written about Edom, יען היות לך איבת עולם ותגר את בני ישראל על ידי חרב. This is a quote from the Pasuk in the Novi, and the Novi says that it was Eivas Oilom. Eiva is a very deep sinner, very deep hate. Eiva. Now there is something very, very deep in this. After we made the connection, the Zohar made the connection between the sinas chinam of Bayit Sheni to the sinner of the brothers of Yosef that caused Galus Mitzrayim. Let's go even further. The pasuk that the Zohar bring about Edom, Eivat Olam. Where we find the word Eiva before in the Tanakh? In Chet Adam Rishon. Here's the pasuk in Yechezkel. Yan heyot lecha eivat olam. Eivat olam, a hate, strong hate. Oilam. Oilam meaning forever. Okay, that's a pasuk in Yechezkel Lamed Hey. But the word Eiva bring us to Chet Adam Rishon. After the Chet, it says in Sefer Bereshis, after the Chet in Perek Gimel, that Hashem spoke to the Nachash after he caused Adam and Chava to sin. Look what Hashem says to the Nachash. Vayomer Hashem Elokim el Nachash. Ki asita zot, because you did what you did, you made them sin. Arur ata mikol habehema umikol chayat hasadeh asher, you will be cursed from all the animals. Al gechoncha telech, you will go on your stomach, meaning I'm going to cut off your legs. Ve'afar tochal kol yemei chayecha, and you will eat dust all your life. And look at this. ואיבה אשית בינך ובין האישה ובין זרעך ובין זרע. הוא ישופך ראש ואתה תשופנו עקב. I will make, Hashem said to the Nachash, an Eva, which is very strong hate between you and people. Now, if we will analyze this, the Nachash caused Adam and Chava to not relate to the authority of Hashem. That's what he said to them. אף כי אמר אלוקים לא תאכלו מכל עץ הגן. I'm telling you, yeah, eat from it. And he caused them to do it. And he speaks Lashon Hara. He said that Hashem prevent you from eating from this tree because you do not want competition. He ate from this tree and he created the world. And if you will eat, you will be too powerful. That's why Hashem prevented from you, which was a lie. That was not the reason that Hashem commanded Adam and Chava not to eat from Etz Hadat Uvara. And because of it, he caused them separation from Hashem. It was a separation. And it was a lie, based on lie. Therefore, the first one who caused separation between Hashem and man and human being was the Nachash. So because of that, Hashem said, I establish a hate between you and the human race, between you and the descendant of Adam and Chava. Now, according to the Kabbalah, it's mentioned actually even in the Medrash, in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, that the Nachash was an animal that on it was a rider, like a camel and the rider on the camel. That what mentioned over there in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, was a rider on the Nachash, and this rider was the Sitra Achra. The Sitra Achra, the other side, which is a spiritual negative power that Hashem created in order to make Bechira. So he created the Ra, the negative, the other side, and that was the rider who was riding the Nachash, and he actually caused the whole thing, the Chet Adam Rishon. Or he made give them the temptation to go against Hashem. It's mentioned that the Nachash has, actually it's like a monster that have 3 heads, and the 3 heads of the Nachash are Kina, Tava, and Kavod. Kina, Tava, and Kavod are 3 things, that there are the 3 heads of this dragon, this monster called Nachash Kadmoni, and the common denominator between them are fake. Kina, as we said, I have enough, but how come you will have more? So it's fake. I will not go to the Taiva and Kavod. It's the same thing. This is the common denominator, right? So Kina is one of these things, because Hashem says to Adam and Chava, you need to eat from the entire trees of the garden. This one don't. And what the Nachash says, Davka this. Because Hashem told you no, do from this. And this is the fake. The fake is you have what you need, but you want to take more than you need. And this is Kina and Taiva and Kavod, to take more than you actually need and or deserve. This is the thing. Sinas Chinam is a sinah for something based on something that's not real. There is, by the way, and again, our time is over, we cannot continue in this, there is something called justified sinah. I'll just show you the psukim in Tehillim. You probably know them because you know Tehillim by heart. In Tehillim Perek Tzadik Zayin it says, Ohavei Hashem Sin'u ra. If you love Hashem, you love the truth, you love the ultimate goodness of Hashem, you have to hate. You have to hate Ra, which is negative. And David HaMelech says in Kuf Lametet, in Tehillim, הלא משנאיך השם אשנא, ובמתקוממיך אתקוטט, תכלית שנאה שנאתים. I hated those who hate you, Hashem. Because if you love the truth, you love the good, you must hate the lie. You must hate those who hate the truth. So there is a justified hate. Of course, among the Jewish nation, if we are going, all of us, in the Derech Hashem, we have to love each other, even if someone hurt us or did something. Of course, you have to settle it down, but you're not allowed to hate it in your heart. So this is Sinas Chinam. The avoid of those days is to increase the ahava. I don't like, even though it's mentioned by the Acharonim, I don't like the concept of ahavas chinam. I don't think it's correct, because you could not love for nothing. Love is for something, and you love the Jews because they're Jewish, because they're going in the Derech Hashem. Sinas chinam, for sure it's chinam, because the sinah is not justified, unless it's justified, and this is a mitzvah to hate the one who hates the truth. But we have to increase ahava. We have to see the potential of every Jew, and even if they are not doing what's right, they're not doing it on purpose, like Rishaim, we have to be mekar of them, and we have to love them. We have to love the point of positivity, which is the Jewish neshama that they have in them. So, with increasing ahava, be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to fix the cause of the churban, which is sin as chinam. So we have ahava, not chinam, ahava that we should have if we understand what the truth is, the Torah that Hashem gave us, that all of us, the Jews, said about it, Nasa v'nishma. So that's what we could say in this session. Thank you for listening. I don't know if you have a custom to discuss, to make a discussion after, but I finished my monologue. From now on, we could just open it